my Bitcoin story, and I'm really excited today. We have Didi Taihuttu. He is known also as the Bitcoin family. Didi and his wife, and also three kids, sold their houses, cars, and everything they own and invested it all in Bitcoin. So right now we want to explore more about his stories and how is it, the experience of living off Bitcoin with the entire family. This is very interesting. So welcome to the show, Didi.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. Indeed, yeah, we went all in some time ago. You're the first host that pronounces my last name okay, Taihuttu, but that's because probably you have some Indonesian roots as well. Yeah, really, it's a pleasure to be here. Let's make it a beautiful show. I will ask my kids if they can stop with all the videos and all that stuff, and then I think the internet should be stable enough to do a cool show.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I mean, so you obviously have Indonesian blood in you, so maybe we have a lot of Indonesian audience as well. Maybe can you tell a little bit about your roots and how is it like to um live as Taihutu in different country?
So my roots are from the Maluku Islands. The island is called Haruku. The village is called Hulaliu. And that's where the name Taihuttu is. That's also where still, of course, our building is with the poles, with the names and everything, with my name Taihuttu. I went there with the kids during the 42 countries we traveled. I brought them back to the roots. We are descendants from Taihutu and Maruinaya, so that's like both backgrounds of my name. And then, because of my grandfather, during the war in a special time was taken to Netherlands. I grew up in the Netherlands. Of course, I was grown up in a real Indonesian family with the real pride and the real fighter's heart to come back to the Maluku. My grandfather, of course, was a supporter of at that time still the RMS. We want to be an own republic. So yeah, I just had all the stories. My father was Indonesian, my grandfather was Indonesian. So I'm a proud Maluku person that always will be proud on the roots that we have from the Indonesian islands.
Awesome. Very beautiful stories. So maybe we can kick off to give a context to the audience. Like, what was your Bitcoin stories? I know that from what I listened to your podcast, before you go all in into Bitcoin, you did like Bitcoin mining. Now you do a Bitcoin fan and then many other charity projects. So maybe take it from the beginning before you buy Bitcoin, and then what was your life look like after you buy Bitcoin, after you sold everything and then bought Bitcoin?
Okay, the life before Bitcoin. When I was young, I wanted to be professional football player. So I played professional. I even went with the professional team to Indonesia to teach young children to play football. I played I think in Jakarta, the biggest stadium was called Bung Karno or something. We even played there. So football was my passion. But at the end, I was also very yeah, I had my own opinion. Let's put it like that. I think it's from the Indonesian roots. I want to play the game like I want to play the game, not like the trainer wanted it to be. So after a couple of years, I went to school, study, and then I didn't like to be working for a job, so I became an entrepreneur. I lost my mother on a very early age. She was 48 years old. I was 24 at the time. So I became a workaholic and I built up a few companies. And in one of those companies, I started to mine Bitcoin and Dogecoin in 2013. So that was the first time I had contact with Bitcoin and Dogecoin. I thought it was going to change the world. I thought, it's going to change everything that I saw that was wrong in the world. You need to understand the whole story of the Taihuttu people that came from the Moroccan islands. When they went back, like 10 years later, my grandfather wanted to get back his land. And then the government said, But where's the proof? There is no proof. The archives are burned. We can't prove you are the owner of the land. So all that experience in my youth, and then seeing the development of something as Bitcoin and the blockchain, which made it impossible for people to lose the rights of property and all that stuff, that made for me the decision. Okay, I like to look into it. So I started to mine Bitcoin and the Dogecoin. In 2014, my companies were on up and running really hard. I had a lot of employees, and at that time, my father called me that he had diagnosed cancer and he was going to die in a year. So he had 1 more year to live. So I spent that year with my father, and I hired managers to run the companies. And I forgot about Bitcoin, I forgot about Dogecoin, I forgot about everything else in life. I just wanted to be there with my father.
Mm-hmm.
And when he died a year later, I need to do the funeral and all that stuff. And then I got a huge burnout. I got like sick. I didn't know what to do anymore. I was tired. I didn't have energy. And that made me decide to go on a trip. I told my wife, I need to reset. Let's go on a trip of a few months to Thailand and to Indonesia, and just to become a little bit more zen again. And
Mm-hmm.
during that trip, the guys, my friends, told to call me, and they were like, Didi, do you still have your Bitcoins and your Dogecoin? And it was not till on Bali. I was on Bali. I will never forget. It was a Kuta beach, the extension of it, Legian beach. I was there, and the guy called me and says, "Do you have still your Bitcoin?" Yeah, I still have them, but I'm on the beach in Bali. I'm going to eat satay ayam later. I'm not going to look at my Bitcoins. But he kept calling me, checked them, kept them. So I started to check the Bitcoins, and I saw they were going up in price, and I saw the community growing again. And something started to burn again in myself, and I felt the revolution of to disrupt the monetary system, and to connect poor people also to the same system that I was born luckily into, because I was born in the Netherlands as a rich person. And during the travels, I saw so many poor people that were not connected to the financial system, that didn't have a house, no KYC, didn't have a bank account. And for me, all the puzzles fell on the perfect place. It was like I saw the problems in the world. I saw the problems of the central systems, the governments, the banks. I saw the solution, Bitcoin and blockchain. And that made me decide to tell my wife and to ask my wife, can we think about going all in? Like, we sell
Mm-hmm.
the house, we sell the companies, we sell the cars, we sell the toys, we sell the motorbikes, we sell everything we have. And we go all into Bitcoin, support that revolution, and keep traveling with our family. Just travel with the five of us with $3. And after a couple of nights and a few drinks and discussions and soppy, we decided to do it. And I started to
Mm-hmm.
sell the cars online, and I bought Bitcoin, and we flew home, and then we put the house for sale for Bitcoin. That came into the media all over the world, that because there's a stupid guy that is selling his house for something that is a scam, and it's called Bitcoin. And then we were bombed to the Bitcoin family. And from that moment on, we are now almost 4 years later. 4 years later, we don't have bank accounts. We don't have any bank accounts. We only travel the world already for 4 years with crypto, or exchange crypto to cash, or all other options, but no bank accounts. And now we are in Mexico at the moment, and still living the life to the fullest. My trading Bitcoin, selling trading indicators, selling T-shirts. Here, you believe in Bitcoin, all that stuff. Just living the crypto life 24/7 as a family. Yeah.
Wow.
And there was
So,
like, wow, wow.
wow. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there's a very wonderful stories. And you know, you bought the Bitcoin in 2017, right? You bought, like,
Yeah.
when you go all in, you buy it in 2017. And in 2017, the price went up to 20K and then reached the bear market. So, like, do you still have your conviction at that time, or did you, like, how do you guys survive during the bear market?
So it's like, I already mined Bitcoin in 2013, and I started to buy Bitcoins from the moment Bitcoin was $800 in 2017, and we bought all the way up to $6,000. So of course, we made a lot of profit, and because of making a lot of profit, we started to share those profit also with poor people all over the world, because we become happy of giving. But we didn't expect Bitcoin to drop to 10K and then to 6K and then to 3K. That was like, okay, 10K is enough. Stop here, And no, it went to 6K. I'm like, oh no, and then 3K. So at that moment, you lose a lot of value, a lot of capital. But we just decided in those years to spend less money, to live a minimalistic lifestyle. So that were the years that we went to the Maluku Islands, where you can eat for a few cents, you eat on the streets, and it's cheap. That's when you go to Asia, because then you can hodl as much as possible Bitcoin while you still live a beautiful life where you get all the quality that you need. In Thailand, you get a massage for $5 per hour, so then you don't need to spend too much Bitcoins. And at the same time, you try to earn more Bitcoins. I trade every day, so you multiply your Bitcoins. And so it's a roller coaster ride. And in the years of 2018, 19, I think life was costing us almost 1 to 2 Bitcoins every month. So now 1 Bitcoin pays me a whole year. So that's Bitcoin. You go with the flow. When Bitcoin is low, we live on a campsite or in cheap countries. When Bitcoin goes a little bit up, we can go to a little bit more expensive countries. By now, it's a little bit more easy because the capital grew a little bit more. So it's more easy now. But in the beginning, it was some tough years, ups and downs.
But you at that time, you don't lose conviction on Bitcoin. You don't think like, oh no,
No,
Bitcoin is going to go down.
no, I never lost conviction. I always had the same calculation. I always thought by myself. If you look at the first interview I did with CNBC at that time, I said, we are going to be in this to 2021. And if in 2021, will be able to keep 5 Bitcoins, and the rest I just spent during the other 4 years, and I will stay, at the end, I will have still 5 Bitcoins in 2021. I believe that if Bitcoin then goes to 50,000, you again have 250,000 US dollar. So for me, that was the belief. That's why I believe in Bitcoin. I believed if it will go up a lot, I can spend the rest, I keep a little bit left, and that it will still be a lot of money. So, and because I believe that, you don't feel that fear as much. Of course, you always feel a little bit like the dip 2 days ago, my heart goes like, what is this? You don't expect it. And then you try to zoom out again and look to the market and the charts. And, and it's the moment you choose to live in a minimalistic lifestyle. We don't own a house, we don't own cars, we don't own luxury stuff, only my laptop and my iPhone. It becomes more easy to go and with fluctuations because you don't need so much money every month. That was my youngest daughter.
So then, I mean, a lot of people always say like, oh, don't spend your Bitcoin because you will regret it. Like today, for example, it's the Bitcoin pizza days, right? Like, I mean, now in Indonesia, I think right now in Mexico is still the day before. But yeah, that pizza days always be the example that this guy spent 10,000 Bitcoin for a pizza, and then now probably people will say like, oh, if you don't spend your Bitcoin, that Bitcoin will cost this much. Um, so yeah, like how what is your strategy to make sure that the Bitcoin that you accumulate in these years, like from 2013 up until now, you will still have it, you still not lose that Bitcoin, or you just say, okay, well, I do trading, I'll make more income from selling t-shirt, etc. Yeah, so what is your strategy to make sure that you don't go zero?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe tomorrow we go zero. If Bitcoin goes to zero, I'm bankrupt. It's very easy. We are all in. We don't have any strategy. People that say, oh, that's if you spend Bitcoins now, it's really expensive, and maybe compare it to the pizza. My answer is always the same. That is only a question that can be asked by people that are not all in. We are all in. there is no alternative. I only have Bitcoins. I don't have a bank account. So, or I need to pay that pizza by exchanging Bitcoins to Indonesian rupiah, for example, and then I lose my Bitcoins as well. Or I pay the pizza directly with Bitcoins and I lose my Bitcoins as well. There is no option. I don't have Indonesian rupiah somewhere hidden. I need to spend Bitcoins. So that is the first thing. And the second thing, I ask those people, but look at it in the other way. So all of you guys who have a little bit Bitcoin, but a lot of Indonesian rupiah or dollars or euros, don't you feel really bad that you buy a pizza every day or go to a restaurant? Instead of buying the pizza, you could also buy Bitcoins and in 10-year times have a lot of money because of that. Instead of buying a bike or a car or a new iPhone, you can also buy Bitcoins. And instead of that, in the future, have a lot of value in Bitcoins. So it also works the other way around. And we just manage it because of I trade, I multiply my Bitcoins and I sell tools that other people can use to trade as well. So all my income is in Bitcoins. And that you do money management, and I call it Bitcoin management. So some you live off, some you hodl, some you multiply, and then you just try to average out so you have a beautiful life that you can spend on Bitcoins.
Wow. So you are actually living with Bitcoin standard like entirely, yeah? Like I mean, not only just like
Entirely.
yeah, wow.
In the last 3 days, we lost dollar value or Indonesian rupiah value. We lost a lot. We lost a lot. Bitcoin dips with 50%. We lose 50% of our capital. But I don't need that tomorrow or the day after or in a month. I only need a few $100 to eat this month, and that's it. The rest I don't need. I don't worry too much about it. I can stress about it, but then I need to think again and look at it. And I think, okay, don't worry. I don't need it now. I will need it in the future. So I just make sure that I just have enough to eat and to drink and to do stuff with the kids, and the rest, it will be there. Look, if you look at Bitcoin and you zoom out enough, you can see that we have only gone up. We started at 7 cents and we are now at $40,000, $37,000. Yes, we went up and down a little bit, but on average, you only went up. Every Bitcoin you buy and you hodl more than 4 years, you have profit. That's the only trick. Buy it and keep it more longer than 4 years and you're in profit. No one that bought Bitcoin and held for 4 years was in loss. All of them. There is not possible that you were in loss if you held your Bitcoins for 4 years.
And that 4 years because of the Bitcoin halving cycle, right?
Because of the halving cycle, because of the cycle of the top of the bull run, people, we are all guessing, when is the bull run? When is it going to bull run in 2021? We had the top in 2013, December, in 2017, December, 2021, 4 years later, if we make a complete cycle, it will again be around December. And that is why we're now pulling back a little bit. And we will go sideways maybe 1-2 months around 50K, like this now 50 to 30 to 50 to 30. And then again, we will have that huge run. Now, the important part is now that all the people that are listening now today, that they don't sell their Bitcoins to the billionaires, to the institutional investors, to the hedge fund. That's why people say diamond hands or hodl your Bitcoins. If you sell today, you sell to those rich people that will take over the control in Bitcoin. You don't want that. That's not the Bitcoin revolution.
Wow. Yes. Hodl, everyone. I mean, yeah, that's true. Every 4 years, like at least if you hold it like long term, minimum 4 years, you will make profit for sure. And you can see it in the charts and the statistics. It's always like that. And yeah, people say that when in doubt, zoom out, zoom out to see the bigger picture. Don't just like focus on the small chart.
Exactly.
15-minute 15-minute trading or like 1 minute trading. It's just like, oh my god, this is crazy. But if you see it in all-time chart,
then your emotions will go like this. Then your emotions will go like this, and it's like, just think about it. All the people that bought Bitcoin at the highest point in 2017. So all the people that bought Bitcoin at 20,000 US dollar, we had a bear market to $3,000. But the people that bought at $20,000, they are still in profit, a huge profit. And they bought at the highest point ever at that moment. We all thought we will never go higher. All the people that will buy now at 30K, 40K, 60K, in 4 years' time, those people will also be in profit. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but in 4 years' time, Bitcoin will be 100, 200, maybe 400, maybe $1 million. They will be in profit.
So on your journey as well, so you said that you sometimes exchange your money into fiat to pay for stuff, but also some people will accept Bitcoin for payment, right?
Yeah.
So how do you convince people to accept Bitcoin? And what is your, let's say, what is normally the biggest hesitation from people when they want to accept Bitcoin?
That's what I do. That's what I do 24/7. The house that you see now, I paid this with 1 Bitcoin. This was a real estate agent that is renting out houses in Mexico. They didn't accept Bitcoin. I called them. I told them I want to pay with Bitcoin. They start to laugh at me. Then they start to, let's go on a lunch. I send them an article about us, in which language that they need it. And then they read it and they're like, okay, come for a lunch. And then we go for the lunch and then I explain them, okay, this is why I want to pay in Bitcoin. This is why I think it's good for you to accept Bitcoin. And then I can just convince them. And at the end, I'm paying this house with Bitcoin. We have even a guy that is doing the food delivery. He brings the food every day to us. Yesterday I had a chat with him. From now on, he is accepting Bitcoin. Everywhere I go with my family, we try to convince people that they should start to accept Bitcoin. That is how I make my life more easy. So it is not that difficult. If you want to book hotels or flights, there's a lot of websites. Excel Trip from India, you have Travala from the UK. That's like booking.com website. You can book any hotel with Bitcoin or Litecoin or Ethereum or whatever other currency.
Wow.
So the technology is evolving. The mindset of the people is evolving. The companies that are accepting Bitcoin, they are all evolving. It won't take long that you can buy everything with Bitcoin. It's like you have a lot of websites like Bitrefill where I can buy a coupon with Bitcoin and spend it at the McDonald's here in Mexico. Everything is already possible. It's not that difficult anymore. At the beginning it was, but nowadays life on Bitcoin is easy. It's even more easy for me than life at banks.
That's true. That's true. Because the Bitcoin, Bitcoin number will go up. Where if you just spend or like save your money in bank account, yeah, the value of your money reduce every year because of the inflation.
Because of the inflation, the purchase power is going to be reduced. But in the Netherlands, for example, you also now need to pay interest to hold your money on the bank. Like when we were younger, we received interest because you were saving on the bank, you received it. Nowadays, if you have more than 50,000 euros in Holland, you need to pay interest. So you pay interest, the purchasing power is going down because of the inflation. So what reason would anybody still have money on the bank? That's for me, it is the same that now, for example, in Indonesia, everybody would still use the bedjack. No, you use motorbikes and cars nowadays. That's the same that in Holland, everybody would still be with horse and wagon. No, we have motorbikes and cars nowadays. Why would you use horse and wagon if you already have the car? Why would you use a bank if you already have the most advanced monetary peer-to-peer digital cash that will ever be there? So people will all understand this in the future. They will understand that Bitcoin is the most unique asset ever. It is gold, it is peer-to-peer cash, it is an investment tool, it is an asset, it is a stock, it is everything that already existed combined in one thing, which is called Bitcoin. And people just need to evolve to the understanding, It's the same like probably your grandfather, father and mother, when the banks told them, now you need to use this plastic card and go to the machine and cash your money out of it, they were afraid. They didn't trust that machine with a plastic card. They want to go inside the bank and collect their money. They need to get used to that idea of the plastic card. Let's stand used to use PayPal. And we are evolving. money is evolving and we are evolving, and cryptocurrency is the next step in the evolution of money. So for me, it's just normal, but let's see. Maybe I'm a long-haired dude that was completely wrong, and you never know.
Yeah, changes in technology is inevitable, right? Like, um, I mean, that's the only thing. Like, technology will progress based on what markets need. So, yeah,
And
like
and
my market will
Asia,
choose. Yeah.
yeah, and I think Asia is way ahead of whole Europe. Europe
Mm.
thinks, oh, Asia is third world country. No, it was already 4 years ago that I was in Singapore and I paid the Coca-Cola machine with my telephone. That was already possible. That's not even possible now in the Netherlands. Asia is running ahead of the whole world when it comes to the evolution of technology. So I think that's why the adoption in Indonesia, for example, is bigger than in the rest of the world,
Yeah.
because people have the need for it and people are already used to pay with telephones and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it has more benefit rather than disadvantage to use, Bitcoin. So I think now you're talking about adoption and, yeah, like a new technology. So you bring your kids to this journey right now. You take them, travel around the world, and see the world and living with Bitcoin standard. How, like, maybe my question is, how do you raise your kids, and how do you teach your kid about money?
I don't teach them about money. I teach them about Bitcoin.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, with about Bitcoin and money, probably, like, probably there's also you need to see, like, oh, this is the current system and this is the Bitcoin system. Do you teach them
Yeah,
that?
of course. Yeah, of course. I know that was a joke, but it's what it is. We chose to prepare the kids for the future and
Mhm.
not for the past. And we think that traditional schools prepare kids for the past. That's why they put your brains full with history, and you need to memorize books and you need to memorize everything. But what do you learn? You don't learn anything. You're just learning to memorize stuff. And we want to prepare the kids in a different way for the future, a decentralized future. So, in my opinion, the future will look completely different. We won't have the jobs available that kids are now being prepared for by the governments.
Mhm.
Those jobs will be gone because of the blockchain and cryptocurrency technology. A lot of jobs won't be there anymore. That's the same thing that internet also made it, replaced a lot of jobs, and now blockchain and crypto technology is going to replace a lot of jobs as well. So we homeschool the kids. There's also an online school that the kids have social contacts a little bit with other children, and where they learn some stuff that I can't teach them as a father. So it's a completely different way. But I think it's not better, not worse. It's different, and I think that is the main thing that people should learn to understand, that we should respect each other for the way we think about life. Some people think different about life. Let them be. Let them live that life the way they want. Let them educate the kids the way they want. Why should I educate the kids like by law in a classroom by a teacher that is only there to make money? I don't want that. I want to educate my kids different. So for me, everything, education, spending of money, capital, everything is about freedom. It is all freedom. We are born to be free. We are human beings. I don't even understand that there is a concept of borders. Why is there a border? For what? I should be able to walk all over this world without any passport or law. I'm not a number, I'm a person. So we think different, and that's why we educate the kids different.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, your oldest is 17, right? Like, how old is your oldest?
15, and she's
15.
turning 16 in a month. Yeah.
Okay. So she
So we
was
have
like,
one of 16, one of 14, and one of 10. Yeah.
okay, so 16, 14, 13. That's like, I think, like, that's like a mid range, like, teenager, right? So when you start traveling, it was 4 years ago. Uh, they they are coming into the teenage life, and most teenager they like to socialize and they like to hang out with their friends. um like, how do you manage the kids social life? Do you have like a group of other homeschool kids that you like to meet? Like, how to make sure that they are socialized with each other?
That's the only problem at the moment. Normally, it's not a problem. There's a lot of families traveling. People always think,
Mm,
wow, that's the only family that travels, but there's like thousands of families that travel the world and that all think different, you know?
mhm,
And normally you meet them and normally you gather together at the families and the kids can hang out. And normally you visit beautiful countries like Indonesia or Thailand where the kids still play on the streets as well now and then. But the whole flu situation made that a little bit difficult, you know. Parents are telling their children, "Oh, stay inside. It's dangerous. You can get the flu." You know,
mhm,
we don't believe that the flu is that bad. You know, everybody can get the flu, and some people die, and some people don't die. It's life. But that made it a little bit more difficult for our kids, yeah, to have social context because everybody is in lockdown. You know,
mhm,
in the Netherlands, you couldn't even go out. You know, in some countries you can't even go outside already for a year or longer. So I think now it's difficult. And normally we didn't have problems with it. Always we were able to find some people or other families that travel or but now because the whole world is like upside down, it's not as easy as normal. But that's I think it's the same for people that live in a city somewhere in the world.
mhm,
Everybody needed to adapt to this change. Yeah, normally the kids went outside, now they need to stay outside, inside. I think we still have the freedom and the flexibility to choose the countries where I can live outside.
mhm,
We stayed in Thailand, where everything was still open till they did the lockdown. Then we went to Portugal because everything there was open. I didn't need to, you know, confirm the rules of a
mhm,
face mask, of this, of that. And when that happened in Portugal, we went to Mexico, and here also everything is still open. I think that is the biggest example why we chose to live this life. We are
mhm,
born to be free. So if I'm not free there, I go there.
mhm. So now talking about uh so you, yeah, I mean, because you're traveling a lot, so you think like renting is better than owning a house? Like, a lot of people, like, the idea that it's like ingrained in my head is just that the key of success, if you
Yeah.
have your own house, right? And you sold your house and now you're like renting and living everywhere. So
Yeah.
uh yeah, do you think like it's still good to own a house, or you think that's, better rent?
Who am I to decide if it's good or bad? But I think it's unnecessary. That's a
Mhm,
complete different statement, of course. For me, I'm a product of the 90s. I was taught the same that you're taught. If you want to be successful, you need to own a huge house, have a big bank account, have a lot of salaries, have a lot of cars, and all the luxury stuff, and then you will find happiness. You won't find happiness in all materialistic stuff that is outside of your body. You will find happiness inside in your body, and you will find happiness not by accumulating wealth, but by accumulating happiness. Why would you need to accumulate all the wealth and all the bricks and all the houses to find happiness if you can find it direct without accumulating all that stuff? So that's one side of the story. The second side of the story is that, in my opinion, ownership of houses and cars will be unnecessary. It won't be there in the future. Because of the technology of blockchain and Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies and NFTs, a house will be its own entity. A car will be its own entity. We are evolving in technology. Robots are already communicating with each other. Because of blockchain and cryptocurrencies, they can't only communicate, they can also exchange value with each other without the interference of a man, of a human being. Two artificial intelligence robots or systems can exchange value. This is the biggest step in evolution of technology. Why would I want to own a house if every house in the future will be an entity on the blockchain that will call a repairman when something is broken, pay the repairman with cryptocurrencies, get income out of the fact that I use the house. I walk up to the house, I pay the house with my QR code, I pay for the time that I'm in this house, 1 year, 2 months, 10 minutes, whatever. I pay the house. The house has its own Bitcoin wallet or any other cryptocurrency wallet. And from this wallet, the house will pay everything again, what it needs to be fixed. And the house will be their own entity. The car, we are now living in the step in between. You and me, we experiencing the step in between, but we don't see it. Uber is the step in between. The next step is a drivable car that will park itself everywhere in the street. You will step into the car, you scan a code, you say, I need to go there. The car will drive you there, and the next passenger will step into the car. This car is not owned by Uber in the future or by any company. It is owned by itself. It is an own entity. The cars will evolve. They will be driving. And then when the cars need to be fixed, they will drive to a garage. The garage will have robots that repair that car. They interact value with each other, and the car will leave the garage and go pick up the next customer. All of these steps are already happening. You already have very smart refrigerators that see that your milk is empty, and then they order milk at the supermarket, and then they pay the supermarket, and the milk is delivered by the supermarket to you. It's already, the small things are getting already happening. And this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I don't think that the ownership of stuff is important in the future. And that is exactly what the NFT is. A house will be an NFT. It will have their own proof of ownership. It will be a house. You can't probably you will even be able to speak to that house. You will say, hey, open the door, or clean the floor, or fill the bathroom, or fill the bathtub type, or put on the lights. Oh shit, that is already possible. All what I'm telling you is already possible. But we don't even understand anymore how far and how fast we are growing in technology. And the missing step was blockchain and cryptocurrency. It was not possible for artificial intelligence entities or any other entity to exchange value without a human being. Mm-hmm. And it's now possible. So ownership for me will have a complete different meaning in the future.
So this is very interesting. So the technology or the future is already here, but it's not widely distributed. It's just what it is, right? Like from what you said. And I mean, I also
Exactly.
I also noticed that, the in World Economic Forum, they say that into 2030 people will not own anything. Like it's almost similar like the concept that you just said. But what would be the difference between using this future that you just said in Bitcoin, in crypto, versus in let's say a central bank digital currency? Will this work in central bank digital currency? Or what do you think?
Of course. You know what it is? If a technology evolves, it evolves for all parties, for all people on the world. For the centralized ones, the banks and the government, and the decentralized ones, me and my friends. But you need to understand that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is not going to replace the financial system. It's not going to make the dollar disappear. The banks, they are making the dollar disappear. They are going to delete the dollar and create the central bank's digital dollar, the central bank's digital euro, the central bank's digital yuan, the central bank's digital Indonesian rupiah. That will be very centralized cryptocurrencies. Centralized cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, will always exist and will be owned by governments. The problem is that if the physical cash paper from Indonesia, the notes with all those zeros on it, the million notes, will disappear, and we don't have an alternative to that bank system, then we are completely in control. Because if we don't have an alternative way of paying, cash or coins, they can always freeze our bank account. If you're voting on the wrong president, they freeze your bank account. If you're driving through the red traffic light, they freeze your bank account. Or compare it to China, where they have a social credit system. If you don't have enough points, you can't leave China. So if you combine all the systems that they already have been testing, the social system in China, the converting of 26 currencies in Europe to €1, they have been testing all of this, and they are preparing to now disrupt the world, crash the economy, and then act as the savior because they will give everybody a universal basic income. Because there won't be jobs in the future, robots will be doing the jobs. So what will people need to do? I don't know, but how can we enslave the people? By giving them a universal basic income, they become thankful and they love their government again. If at the same time we don't make sure that we have an alternative to cash, Bitcoin, or any other cryptocurrencies, then we are, I think, really screwed. So I think this parallel economy will always exist. There will be a centralized one and a decentralized one. And at the moment, decentralized is the physical cash, and that will be changing into digital peer-to-peer cash. And then I think, Klaus Schwab and all those people from the forum, they have another idea with saying in 2030 you won't own anything, and they mean you won't own anything. And the thing that I say different is, yes, if you keep believing in that fiat system, if you keep your money on your bank accounts now, all of it or whatever, if you keep physical cash in your house or on your bank account, then in 2030 you won't own anything. If you convert that money now into Bitcoin, you will own a lot in 2030. Because we as a community will use that as a financial system. Whatever they say, we will be using it. So that's what I always tell people. Stop believing those guys and convert your money into Bitcoin. That is a store of value. That one is going to disappear, and that one is able to freeze. Bitcoin is unconfiscatable, and they will never be able to take it from you or freeze it, and it will increase in value.
Very beautiful, yeah. And also the beautiful thing is that in Bitcoin system, people are actually opting in, right? It does by it voluntarily. You have to do the act of accumulating Bitcoin or receiving Bitcoin. It cannot be forced on you since the very first inception. So yeah, it thanks to Satoshi Nakamoto, we have the alternative of the current system, and it's just a matter of choice, right? Like for the people to choose which futures that they want. They want to be in the centralized future or decentralized future, just what you said. Yeah.
I think that is exactly the dilemma that we are going to face. But we have been facing those dilemmas since we were born. Are we going to go into the internet revolution, or are we going to stay offline? Am I going to read the newspaper, or am I going to read the website on my telephone? Am I going to watch on a television, or do I look Netflix on my telephone? We will always have these dilemmas, and the next dilemma will be a financial dilemma. And not only because of the crisis, and not only because they want to rule the whole world at the moment, the elite 2% of the world that has all the control, we now have the last ticket to escape from that supremacy, in my opinion. And I think that if we don't pay attention as a Bitcoin community at the moment, we might lose control in Bitcoin. It is not for nothing that all governments start to incentivize their power plants to mine Bitcoins. Iraq, Iran, Venezuela, Turkey, they are incentivizing a power plant that normally makes energy for the people now to mine Bitcoin. Governments want to take control in Bitcoin. And they know that they can't buy it anymore, so they are starting to mine Bitcoin. And if we give control of Bitcoin to the billionaires, to the Elon Musks, to the Michael Saylors, to the Teslas, to the power plants and energy, they are mining Bitcoins, then we are giving away the control of Bitcoin. And then the beautiful part of Bitcoin is that there is a mechanism which is called hard forking. So the moment we lose control on Bitcoin and the billionaires or the institutional investors or the hedge funds take over, we use another cryptocurrency for peer-to-peer cash. They can never win this war. We already won the war because of technology.
Wow. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm speechless. I'm speechless.
I will continue because you're speechless. I always say like this, all the wars in the world were always fought about ingredients in a country. The Netherlands wanted to own the Maluku Islands because of the ingredients that the country or the islands had. It was the opium, it was, all the, how to say this in English,
Spices, like,
the spices, yeah, and
yeah.
everything. That is why they wanted it. United States, they wanted to have wars in Iraq and Iran because they want to have the oil. In the future, those countries won't be fighting on oil or spices. The next wars will be on Bitcoin. Because if Iran is one of the biggest Bitcoin miners and China is the biggest Bitcoin miner, and all those countries that still have huge debts to the United States, if they now start to mine Bitcoins and use Bitcoins for import and export, they by that surpass the US sanctions. And then United States is losing control. Oh, we can't force them anymore because normally we force them to use dollars and now they use Bitcoin. What do you think that the reaction of those countries will be? you know,
Yeah. I mean, it's also hard. Like they cannot really attack it, right? Like,
no, of course, they will invade, they will
yeah.
confiscate the power plants. They are not going to go for the oil fields. They are going for the power plants where the Bitcoins are being mined.
Hmm.
That will be the next war. And if they are not able to do it, okay, then we create an economical war. Then we make sure that there is something happening in the world because then the whole world goes bankrupt, so that we get control in that way. It's one big game, in my opinion. And I'm just a player, a very small player in this game. And I just noticed that this game is being played. And I think, okay, the most safest game to play now is Bitcoin.
Hmm.
People just need to start believe that that is the safest play they can play.
Yeah. Like it's more on the gain than the disadvantage of owning Bitcoin. And yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
matter of time and hodl, because hodling is a virtue. So
It
let's
is, yeah.
so let's also talk about your charity projects. You did a lot of charity. You give like charity to people in Venezuela and other part of the country. So maybe tell a little bit more about that, and what is your goal on that charity as well.
I don't have real goals, but the goal for I know that if we share our wealth, the money we make, then I get a little bit more happy because I love to see other people happy as well. So what we do is that we make profits. I make profits with trading. I sell some trader indicators. We make profit with that. Some trading bots. We make profit with that. We sell T-shirts. I speak on conferences. We sell books. We do documentaries, and of everything we do, a huge part goes into a fund, and this fund we use to help poor people. So now in Mexico, we are now here for 2 months. I'm building a school here in one of the poorest areas of the village because the kids didn't have a school. So we are building a school. In Venezuela, I was in contact with 20 homeless kids that had this guy that was taking care of them, and they said they don't have shoes, they don't have food, they don't have a Christmas dinner. So I gave them shoes, food, and a Christmas dinner in December. Now we are in the process of buying a house for those kids so that they have a roof again and they don't need to sleep down below a bridge. And in India, we already supported an orphanage for 3 years. We send them bitcoins. We educate them how to accept bitcoins. They have the Bitcoin wallet on the website, and then we shine the light and hope that other people send bitcoins. In Serbia, we do the same. We are now setting up something in Indonesia because I really want to help my roots. I would love to go back there now because the lockdown is not possible, but else I would already be there on the Maluku Islands, and I will do a lot of charity there because I think Bitcoin's most important value is to distribute the wealth more equal. And by giving the opportunity for those people to connect with each other, financial, I can send $2 through my iPhone to my nephew on the Maluku Islands or to his cheap iPhone or cheap
Mm.
telephone, Vivo or whatever you use in Asia. And that is possible. The guy doesn't need a bank account anymore. I don't need to post money in an envelope anymore like I used to do in the 90s and send it to my family. Now I just do zip, and he is on the Maluku Islands receiving money. So that is why, I just love to help those people with it. And that's why we help more and more charities. Now we also have a fund that we're going to use to do microloans. So now people can
Mm.
call us and say, okay, we need $500 small loans because I'm not a
Mm.
billionaire, um, to buy some equipment to make a product. No, we give him a loan and he just pays us back without interest. It's just to make them part of the community, make them part of the system. And it's a passion, and it is we are still in the starting phase, but it's growing, and we just like to do this stuff. And I think that is what Bitcoin should be about,
Mm.
helping each other and being together again with each other, and distributing the wealth a little bit more equally.
Mm. Very beautiful. So you have lots of projects going around at the same time right now as well, right? Yeah.
At the moment, I'm busier as ever before. I am also building some villages. In Thailand, I'm building a small digital co-working, co-living place on Koh
Mhm.
Phangan. In Bulgaria, we are building a smart city and a residential area of 2 million square meters. In Portugal, I'm busy now with buying land to build a blockchain village. And also in Mexico now, I'm busy with I maybe can show you some pictures, then you have the scoop in that, because there is now, I'm going to build a Bitcoin hotel.
Wow.
And you're going to build that together with all Bitcoiners. Everybody can chip in a little bit Bitcoin, and then they own a part of the hotel. This is now the
Wow.
architect already made the whole design. And I will show you the rooms. You will like the rooms. The rooms will all have cool names and all that stuff, but wait, this is all the floor plans.
Pretty
And
sure
the
pay with
rooms
Bitcoin, right?
are only Bitcoin. Check the rooms. The rooms
Oh,
will have like Bitcoin logos, but
right.
the ceiling will all be like blockchain themed, or
Oh, wow.
the carpet will be
Awesome.
Binance themed. So I'm doing a lot. I'm advising some companies. I'm also an advisor. It's busy now. The bull year is always busy, and then I have 2 years like quiet time, and then busy again.
Wow. Amazing, amazing. Like very, very inspirational. And yeah, the more you have, the more that you should give away. Like I also believe that like money is a currency, right? Like if you just like hold it, like not spending it, not just like contain it, it's just gonna be like a dam, like it's not flowing anywhere. So in order for
It's
money to come into you, you also need to give something as well, to give to the society, to give out some of your money. I think that's
exactly.
very
Money is
beautiful.
money is. I think money, Bitcoin, everything. It's all energy.
Mm-hmm.
Like my wife always says, Bitcoin is also energy. It's energy, and energy needs to flow. If energy stops flowing, you get depressive and sad. So Bitcoin also needs to flow. And if we all start to flow Bitcoin, then we create a monetary system. Then the
Yeah.
miners will be successful. We will be successful. The fees will go down, and we will be able to use it as peer-to-peer cash. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
keep it flowing.
Yeah. Wow. Really, really inspiring. So at for the last yeah, maybe question, I'm sure a lot of families, a lot of people really want to just ditch the whole system and then just go all in, but probably afraid of starting, right? So what would be your, let's say, your advice? How can someone follow your footsteps?
Wow, that's a good question. Follow the footsteps. I don't know if anybody wants to follow the footsteps, but if they want to follow the footsteps, I think they need to see that whatever you are being taught in the 90s is not true. At least not true, in my opinion. I think that a materialistic lifestyle will not lead to happiness. I think a minimalistic lifestyle and sharing is caring will lead more to happiness. I think people should stop to live in fear, and people should do what they feel, because if you make all your decisions out of fear, you will always make bad decisions. You need to make a decision because you want something to do, you want to achieve something. You're not choosing something because you're afraid for that one and then you choose that one, or you choose that one because you want to choose that one. So I think if people can combine that, live a little bit more simple and enjoy the little things in life, and at the same moment try to achieve their passions or their goals in life, and that are not materialistic, I think it's very simple. And like changing life or selling your house and your cars and going all in Bitcoin, that's a big change. And in the beginning, it looks scary, but it's the same like everything in life. Everything you do for the first time is scary, but then when you do it, you mostly become happy because you overcame a fear, and by overcoming that fear, you grow. So everything you do is not all for always. If you sell your house and everything you own now, you buy Bitcoins, you go all in, and after 6 months, you're like, no, that's not it. You can go back. It's not a dead end street. You can always turn around or left or right. There is always a new option or a new adventure on the, that you can choose. So I think that is the biggest lesson I can give to people. Don't fear life, embrace it, just do it. You're young
Mhm.
now. When you're 60, 70, 80, you can't be doing the things that you want to do now. And so don't save for the future and your pension and all that stuff. You live life now, you never know when you die.
That's true. Yeah, that's very beautiful. Yeah, that's very very true. Like I tell you, Didi, like you make me a lot of speechless a lot today. Like it's very, very profound. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your wisdom, for your stories,
I
and
did a good job.
yeah, you did a good job. Yeah, yeah, you did. So if people want to contact you, want to yeah support you, how they can do that?
You can find me if you just Google the Bitcoin family in English. So the Bitcoin family. Our website is also thebitcoinfamily.com. Instagram, Facebook, all the social media. It's the Bitcoin family or my own name, Didi Taihuttu. You will find a lot of there. We also have a Discord server. We have more than 6,000 members. Twitter. I'm very active on Twitter. Today I made a tweet because I'm getting sick of all the liquidations and the manipulation of the Bitcoin price. I made a new idea, and that is called the People's Bitcoin Wall, where I advise people to just put buy orders 10% below the Bitcoin price. We do that with millions of people together, and we work together to we all collectively put buy orders 10% lower than the Bitcoin price. They won't be able to do these huge drops that we saw 2 days ago and today again almost. So I'm doing a lot. Just Google the Bitcoin family or Didi Taihuttu. I think there's even a few Indonesian articles somewhere on the internet. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. They are. You are quite
Yeah.
famous in here. That's why I also like want to invite you because a lot of people just like tell me, "Dea, invite Didi." So yeah, this is very exciting.
Believe me, I want to go to Indonesia. Believe me, I want to go to Indonesia. Mau makan nasi goreng sate ayam. So yes, I will be there again.
Awesome, awesome. All right, yeah. So thank you so much, Didi, for your time. And I hope you have a good day. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very thank you as well. Sama-sama. Terima
Sama-sama.
kasih banyak.
Thank you for listening to the My Bitcoin Story. Stay tuned for more episodes and click that follow button.